Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Hare Krishna.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody, please sing, everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Everybody, सब लोग बोलो. Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe. 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 राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे गौरांगा जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की श्री ललिता विशाखा देवी की श्री श्री राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ की श्री श्री जनार्दन महाराज की श्री गिरिधारी गोपाल की श्री श्री गौरनिताई की श्री वृंदावन धाम की श्री यमुना माई की श्री गोवर्धन धाम की नंदगांव बरसाना धाम की जय जय श्री राधे श्याम श्री कार्तिक मास महोत्सव की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you to the Sunday Love Feast. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, entitled Pure Devotional Service, text number 19. स्वविद वराहोस्त्र खरई स्वविद वराहोस्त्र खरई संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशुः संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशुः नयत् कर्णपथोपेते नयत् कर्णपथोपेतो जातु नाम गदाग्रजः जातु नाम गदाग्रजः श्वविद्वराहोष्ट्रखरै संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशुः नयत् कर्णपथोपेतो जातु नाम गदाग्रजः. Please speak. जातु नाम गदाग्रजः जातु नाम गदाग्रजः. माताजी, हाँ बोलो. श्वविद्वराहोष्ट्रखरै संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशुः न यत्कर्णपतोपेतो जातु नाम गदाग्रजः. माताजी में स्वविद्वराहोष्ट्रखरै संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशु नायत्कर्णपथोपेतो जातु नाम गदाग्रजया. Shwa, a dog. Vidvaraha, the village hog who eats stool. Ushtra, the camel. Kharai, and by the asses. Samstutaha, perfectly praised. Purushaha, person. Pashuhu, animal. Na, never. Yat, of him. Karna, ear. Patha, path. Upetaha, reached. Jatu, at any time. Nama, the holy name. Gadagrajaha, Lord Krishna, the deliverer from the evils. Translation. Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. Praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, the deliverer from evils. Which means the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna are not heard by people who are like hogs, dogs, camel, and asses. So we will read a part of the purport. The general mass of people, unless they are trained systematically for a higher standard of life in spiritual values, are no better than animals. And in this verse, they have particularly been put on the level of dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. Modern university education practically prepares one to acquire a doggish mentality with which to accept the service of a greater master. After finishing so-called education, the so-called educated persons move like dogs from door to door with applications for some service, and mostly they are driven away, informed of no vacancy. As dogs are negligible animals and serve the master faithfully for bits of bread, a man serves the master faithfully without sufficient rewards. Hare Krishna. So one thing is about dogs. Dogs are animals which go from door to door and get little food and go on wandering like that. Then second comes is hogs. Persons who have no discrimination in the matter of foodstuff and who eat all sorts of rubbish are called, compared to the hogs. Hogs are very much attached to eating stools. So stool is a kind of foodstuff for a particular type of man, a particular type of animal, and even stones are eatable for a particular type of animal or a bird. But the human being is not meant for eating everything and anything. He is meant to eat grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, sugar, etc. Animal food is not meant for the human being. For chewing solid food, the human being has particular type of teeth meant for cutting vegetables. We'll go ahead to the next description. The camel, Ushtra. The camel is a kind of animal that takes pleasure in eating thorns. A person who wants to enjoy family life or the worldly life is so-called enjoyment. A person who wants to enjoy family life or the worldly life of so-called enjoyment is compared to the camel. Materialistic life is full of thorns. So one should live only by the prescribed method of Vedic regulations just to make the best use of bad bargain. Life in the material world is maintained by sucking one's own blood. The central point of attraction for material enjoyment is sex life. To enjoy sex life is to suck one's own blood. And there is not much more to be explained in this connection. The camel also sucks his own blood while chewing thorny twigs. The thorns the camel eats cut the tongue of the camel, and so blood begins to flow within the camel's mouth from his own tongue. The thorns mixed with fresh blood create a beautiful taste for the foolish animal. So he enjoys the thorn eating business with false pleasure. Hare Krishna. Then comes the ass. You may find a lot of resemblance between us and this description. The ass is an animal who is celebrated as the greatest fool, even amongst even amongst the animals. So he is the best of the best, meaning in the animal kingdom, they look down upon him in the animals also. The ass works very hard and carries burdens to the maximum weight without making any profit for himself. The ass is generally engaged by the washerman with social position, whose social position is not very respectable. Who's the washerman's? So that person who is not so much respected in society, he is engaging ass to carry loads of clothes. And the special qualification of the ass is that it is very much accustomed to being kicked by the opposite sex. When the ass begs for sexual intercourse, he is kicked by the fair sex, yet he will still follow the female for such sexual pleasure. A henpecked man is compared therefore to the ass. The general mass of people work very hard, especially in Kali Yuga. In this age, the human being is actually engaged in the work of an ass, carrying heavy burdens and driving thela and rickshaw. Prabhupada is using word thela. Thela is a cart with four wheels where the vegetable vendor puts vegetables and sells it. The so-called advancement of human civilization has engaged a human being in the work of an ass. The laborers in great factories and workshops are also engaged in such burdensome work. After working hard for the day, the poor laborer has to be again kicked by the fair sex, not only for sex enjoyment, but also so many household affairs. Hare Krishna. I have purposely read parts of paragraphs, not the full purport. Please excuse me for that. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupak Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we need to contemplate on these four animals very carefully and make sure that we don't imitate them. Because if you're not conscious and aware, then the material world, especially the material world in the age of Kali, where we are present, will make us work like an ass, go door to door like a donkey, enjoy at the cost of our own blood, and what is remaining? And eat indiscriminately. So The fact is that those who have taken non-vegetarian food earlier, it is explained that in that mode, when we were in that mode, it used to be a feast. We used to wait for Sunday or whatever days. And we used to tell everybody, today we have non-veg feast, we have chicken feast, we have this feast, that feast. So, it is not that it doesn't have taste. It has taste. Otherwise, people would not become so mad. But it has taste only until the time we are in, till the time we are in the mode of ignorance. Moment you transcend from mode of ignorance to mode of sattva guna, that is sattva guna, it is mode of goodness. The same tasty food, it becomes obnoxious and you feel like vomiting because of nausea. I can tell you from my experience. The same smell of the fish which used to, enamor me, enliven me while climbing the stairs of my house from hostel to home. After I took up Krishna consciousness, the same smell would come in the stairs on the way to my home. I started feeling nauseous and I actually started vomiting also. Why this happens? Because as long as somebody is in gutter, proper thick gutter, and he is drunk, so he can go to sleep in the gutter very nicely. But once his intoxication comes down and he comes to normal sense like other human beings, he will feel so dirty and such bad smell will be there. And then he'll come out of the gutter, go home, take bath, change his clothes, wear fresh, clean, nice clothes, stand in the gallery and see at the same gutter where he was there just a while ago. What will be his feeling? You can't imagine, I was there in that dirty scene. What has happened? Before he was in that gutter, now he is out of gutter. So to know the disgusting situation of the gutter, you need to first come out of the gutter. To know the dirty smell coming from body, first you should take bath and then go near the clothes which you just removed. Then you will come to know it was smelling very bad. So without giving up sinful, dirty activities, you will not know that they were sinful and dirty. Without coming out from darkness to light, we will not come to know that we were in darkness. You have to see the light first, then only you will appreciate the light against the darkness that you are in. That is why human life, it is called, what is it called? Manav or Manushya. What is the meaning of that word? One who has the facility of developing his mind, or one who has developed mind to start with. Definitely, yours and mine mind, even if it's just born, it is better than the mind of birds and animals and reptiles and insects. It is a platform which is already developed to a certain extent, and a facility is there to develop it further. It is vikasansheel. It is possible to develop it. So in such kind of situation of being a manav, having a kind of developed mind to be developed further, if we don't contemplate, which is the faculty of mind, if we don't contemplate, don't think, don't meditate, then it is like animal life only. So we have to be always contemplative whether I am imitating any of the lower species of life. Because fortunately, unfortunately, we all should know that we have traveled through all those species before coming to human life. We have gone through all insect life, reptile life, fish life, bird life, animal life, tiger life, cow life, all kinds of lives in the mode of ignorance, passion and goodness. So all those tendencies, pravrittis are within us, stored as information in subtle mind. If you don't do anything, they will erupt and they will act upon us. And if we are aware, oh, what I am imitating unknowingly, then you may like to give it up and go for a higher purpose. That is why human life is special. It is not ordinary. Human life is special because it gives you opportunity to discriminate between the bad and the good. And it gives ability to choose what is good. It gives you strength and opportunity to do the good and be on the good platform. So this is one kind of life where we are dwelling into many kinds of animalistic attitudes, behaving accordingly, sometimes rejoicing doing those animalistic activities in mode of ignorance. We don't know, so we think we are enjoying. Everybody feels we have a lot of money, so we take drugs and have sex with different partners every day, and we eat voraciously whatever comes on the way, and we just make merry, and that's life. But ultimately, at the end of the day, doing all these things, we just feel frustrated, nothing else. Constantly we feel frustrated. I did everything, I squandered my money, and I felt I can choose anything that I want to enjoy with. But finally, at the end of the day, I didn't have any enjoyment. So let me try more, let me try something else, let me try something else. And we go on doing variety of activities, but in the end, there is no happiness. What is only in the store of the mind is frustration. And this realization, if we are honest with that realization, what is dishonesty? That means you are frustrated, but you still feel, no, I'm happy. Let me go on doing, let me try. I have so many facilities which others don't have. I have so many resources. So that is ignorance. But when we are true, we are honest to our feeling, and we truly contemplate, am I happy? The answer is no. So what do? I want happiness. My nature is to be happy. So then I question, and then I search, and then I find. And what we find is the company of devotees, the association of devotees. And as soon as we come in the company of devotees, we feel blissful. Again, I'm sharing my experience with you. Because devotees by nature are clean in their thoughts and habits and activities. Anybody who is clean in their thoughts, speech and activity, they give you happiness when you see them. Their face will emanate that happiness because they are on the platform of clean behavior. And those who are on unclean behavior, although they look beautiful externally, you feel uncomfortable in their company. Because finally what affects you is the spiritual consciousness. If the spirit is contaminated, then although physically somebody is very beautiful and attractive, you feel uncomfortable. And although somebody is not so much beautiful, but inside very clean, connected with the Supreme, when you come in his company, you feel very happy. So that happiness is felt, and then we want to pursue. We want to ask, oh, what is it there? That person's face is so glowing, is so happy, is so blissful, he looks so pure. I was with him for a few minutes and I felt so joyful. I did so many things and I didn't get that feeling in few minutes in his company which I got. So that is the impetus, and that is the feeling that you get is the mercy of the Lord. And the mercy of the Lord comes always through company of a devotee. Without coming in the company of a devotee, you will never feel the mercy of the Lord. Because Lord has made that channel. Okay, my mercy is not directly available. It is available through devotees only. So, what is the loss if we continue to act as dogs, camels, hogs, and again I forget one. What is that? Dogs, camels, hogs, and asses. We shouldn't forget these four names minimum. But they are mentioned in Bhagavatam many times. Sa eva gokara. What is wrong if we continue living like them? We will not get the taste of hearing the transcendental glory of the Lord. By nature, if we are like these four animals, then we will like to only hear stories of film stars having multiple love affairs and sex affairs and drugs and smuggling and so many things they do. A lot of people who are rich and famous. And we will take interest in only hearing them, what they are doing. And we like what they are doing. We will be in stardust, in the dust of stars. And we will feel pride that we are in the dust of stars. Soon to realize that that is not the place we want to actually be. We don't belong to that place. Because even though when we are taking pride in being in the dust of stars, we don't feel happy from within. We just show that we are happy from outside. If we go to these page 3 parties, everybody is saying, you feel that, oh wow, people are touching the sky of happiness. All time they are just so blissful, just entering blissfully, being blissfully, eating blissfully, dancing blissfully, going also blissfully. Wow, happiness is like in the Rome mein Anand bhara hua hai. This is what we feel. But they are the most frustrated people. That's why they take drugs to sleep and to calm them down, to look for happiness. And what they show is totally facade of untruth, which is not truthful. And the truth is that we need to be happy truly, genuinely, at the soul level. Languages nowadays coming up, soul and soulmate and spiritual and so many things people talk so many things. But they don't have any iota of understanding what is that. But the moment you come in the company of devotees, you will come to know what is spiritual, what is soul, and what are things connected with soul. You eat that one yellow color barfi given on Sharat Purnima day in the evening, you will come to know what is spiritual. The taste. That is available outside in the market also. You buy from market, you will not feel. You take it from here, free. And you eat and you will see. And you will hanker for more and you will come again and again. So spirituality is, in the true sense, to be experienced. We discuss to attract people to spirituality and then they experience, but the experience is the real one. And everybody's first experience is through food. That is prasadam. Everybody's. I would say 99.99999% of people who come to Krishna consciousness, they come through prasadam. And very few people come through hearing Bhagavad Gita or something like that. Or hearing kirtan and liking the kirtan very much. But nothing wrong in it. In fact, prasadam is an easy way to come to Krishna consciousness. And one should not feel shy to ask for more prasad when you want it. It's a sign of sincerity. In fact, in the early days, we used to serve prasad to all the college boys and girls and everybody and keenly watch who is eating with great fervor, who is absorbed in eating and who is asking for more. Isn't that true, Vishwarup Prabhu? We used to watch. And when we would ask, when you see somebody out of many, he is eating with great delight and asking for more, then we will start working on that person. That becomes very easy, So we can give him more and we can discuss more with him. And by the way, we were also picked up in the same manner. Because myself used to eat 2 plates of prasadam at one time. Any time of the day, any time of the meal, when there is time to eat, because one item would be in such large quantity, so why mix them up? So take 2 plates and divide the item into different plates in large quantity and eat it and sit in the corner so that nobody disturbs you. And then many people were watching this. Wow, here is the candidate. And that's how many of us were hooked. And to that concept of eating prasad, even today we are hooked. It's not that we were hooked in the beginning and then we were released later on. No, we got hooked and we got more hooked and we got more hooked. And then we not only our tongue now, everything is hooked. Before that only tongue was hooked. So when you do that, then you get the taste. And then you lose the taste of the activities of a ass that is working hard like a donkey just for little bit benefit. Then we understand that this kind of eating voraciously, this meat, that meat, and this rotten food and that rotten food, that goes away. Then simply running after sense gratification crazily without getting satisfaction, that also goes away, because we come to an understanding there is no happiness actually which I am running after. I'm not getting it actually. And then also you understand my happiness is at the cost of my own energy, like camel. I'm drinking my own blood. I'm tasting my own blood. I'm bleeding and I'm trying to enjoy. I think I'm enjoying, but I'm enjoying my own blood, destroying myself. This is the realization that you get from within. And that's how you give up these tendencies of being camel, ass, dogs, or hogs. And then what happens? What holds us on the platform on which we have given up the lower activities? What holds us is the Shravanam that we heard in the drama also. The Shravanam of Supreme Lord in the form of name, in the form of pastimes, in the form of description of the holy place, in hearing about the great personalities like Lord Ram, Lakshman, Sita. This holds us on the platform that we have given up. Above the platform which we have given up. We can remain above those platforms which we have given up. Otherwise, if we don't develop attractions for higher taste, then again we may fall down in doing the activities like dogs, hogs, camel and asses. So one step is to give up those activities, and second step is to be on the platform above that so that we don't fall again. If we don't do that, naturally we'll slip down again. That's why when you come in the company of devotees, we should keep regularly coming in the company of devotees to hear and chant. And then we will develop the taste to hear the transcendental activities of the Lord. All of us need to develop that liking, to develop the taste to hear the pastimes of the Lord. Because that is the food for the soul, that is spiritual, that is blissful, that is happiness, which we really are looking for, even though we don't know, but we are looking for that. When we come in contact with that, immediately we feel, oh, this is what I like, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I really relish. And then whole human life becomes very blissful, very happy and transcendental. So, today we are in the very fortunate period of life, that is in the month of Damodar. From Ashwin Purnima to Kartik Purnima is called Damodar month. And in the life of human beings, or any other life, or the life in the material world, there are times, and each time has its own effect. That we say time takes away everything slowly, slowly. And time has got auspicious effects and inauspicious effects. Night time is tamoguna. This Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. And we sometimes are tempted to do wrong things in night time. In the morning we feel nice, sattvic, prayerful, peaceful. So time has its own power. So it is better to understand the different effects of time at different times and accordingly follow the time. Like we sail in the ocean, we follow the wind and accordingly we travel. We don't struggle with the wind and go opposite direction of the wind. We try to go in the direction of the wind, and that is the intelligent boatman. So similarly, intelligent human being should understand the times and take maximum benefit of the favorable times. And one of the favorable time is Chaturmasya. To be on the spiritual platform, to progress on the spiritual path, to attain the Lord, to attain the mercy of the Lord, to develop the attraction for the Lord and attain the goal of life. And of the 4 months, this 4th month, the last month, from Ashwin Purnima to Kartik Purnima, Damodar Mas is one of the most powerful months. of course, we have less time, but still we should understand that every devotee who is sincere, who wants to be sincere, who claims to be sincere, should take up some vrat in Kartik. Vrat means accepting some activity willfully, swecha se, accepting some activity willfully with some difficulty, with some asubhidha. And third item is for the pleasure of the Lord. Three things are there. For the pleasure of the Lord, with little difficulty and willfully. Difficult activity but willfully. Then it is called vrata. And then when that vrata is accepted by us, chosen by us, that person is called Kartik Vrati. And Kartik Vrati is very dear to the Lord. One who takes up some vrat in Kartik becomes very dear to the Lord. And he develops such good qualities that all demigods want to reside in the body of a Kartik Vrati. So all of you who are here or who are not here, who are devotees of Krishna, who take up Kartik Vrat, they become very dear to the devotees and to the Lord. And they become very endowed with very wonderful qualities, which are attractive to everybody and to the Lord also. If one does Kartik Vrata perfectly, one time in life, 30 days, that whatever vrat you take, we are supposed to follow for 30 days without interruption. And there is no hard and fast rule that you should take this much only. You can choose from variety of vratas that you want to take. And when you follow that particular vrat that you have chosen willfully for 30 continuous days without interruption, with that credit, one can go back to the kingdom of Godhead at the end of life. That is the power of Kartik Vrat. You have to just do it nicely, sincerely, attentively, continuously, without interruption, for the pleasure of the Lord. With that one credit, at the end of life, you will enter the kingdom of God. That's why, for example, you just take up some extra rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chanting one Bhagavad Gita verse every day, chanting one Bhagavatam verse every day, or reciting Damodara Ashtakam or some prayer every day, offering one lamp to the Lord, or coming to the temple in the morning to see the Lord every day for 30 days, if not other times. Something like that. We can enumerate thousands of things like this. You can choose at your convenience, very thoughtfully. Not very difficult and not extremely easy also. Something like getting up at 5 in the morning every day, not later than that. Taking cold bath in the morning. Chant one Hare Krishna Mahamantra round extra. Like that. Now, offering lamp to the Lord in the month of Damodar. This month is centralized, or the central theme of this month is Lord Krishna was bound by Mother Yashoda in this month. That's why the whole month is called Damodar. Although in the middle of the month, the date comes or the tithi comes, but the whole month is celebrated in that name, Damodar, one who was bound by Mother Yashoda with the belly to the mortar. And there is a culture or pratha of offering one ghee lamp to that Lord Damodar or Lord Vishnu or Krishna or any other form of Lord Vishnu. There is so many glories of that lamp offering is given. I'll tell you only one important thing is, any kind of sin that we can think of committing or we have committed or we would be committing in the future, heaps of unbelievable tons of sinful activities cannot stand in front of the light of one lamp that is offered to Lord Damodar. In other words, all these they get destroyed in the light of one lamp offered to Lord Damodar. And my dear friends, I want to tell you, please do not offer lamp for this purpose. But that is anyway going to happen. If you raise a lamp in front of Lord Vishnu, you are not even offered, you are raised. This already happens automatically. What you should offer the lamp for? You should offer the lamp to the Lord for developing love and devotion for Him, for His pleasure, for His love, for the sake of His love. Offer the lamp to the Lord. In fact, all the vratas that you take, don't take the vrata that, I will restrict my senses, by giving up sweets. I will take cold bath and not have pleasure of having hot bath in the morning, or I will sleep on the ground and not take pleasure of the sleeping on soft beds. Take the self out of all these things. What we like and don't like, and what we think we are doing for our benefit, just keep it aside. Do all the vratas only for the pleasure of the Lord. I am doing this so that I can please the Lord. I will chant one round extra to please the Lord. I will chant one Bhagavatam shloka every day to please the Lord. I will recite this prayer to please the Lord. I will offer the lamb to please the Lord. Everything you do just to please the Lord. Then you get the highest benefit of Kartik Vrata. We are not doing Kartik Vrata to reduce weight and to reduce sugar, and so many things are there which we take sometimes vratas according to our health. Well, these benefits will be there definitely. But the benefit of preaching, pleasing the Lord will not be there always when you give up sweets. So primarily, do it to please the Lord. And then secondary benefits you keep on enjoying as they come. No problem. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Before we go to the descriptions of the festival that happened yesterday, I want to inform you that Ashwin Purnima, another glorious pastime happened. That is the Radharani's Vrata to attain Krishna. Radharani did Tulsi Vrata, Vrinda Devi's Vrata. That began yesterday on the Ashwin Purnima day. And it went for 6 months. I'll tell a small story to you. Radharani got a dream one day in which she saw Krishna and she dancing at the bank of Jamuna. She saw the dream that she is dancing with Krishna at the bank of Jamuna. She felt very much separation when she woke up, and she was burning in separation. So she was looking here and there in desperate condition, came out of the window, and she saw Krishna herding his cows at the Sankri Kaur. So she got more burning in fire of separation. She called Lalita and told Lalita, I can't live without Krishna. Please. She actually fainted, and Lalita Vishaka got her to consciousness, and she said, I just can't stay without Krishna. So then Lalita tells about Radharani's condition to Krishna. She goes and meets Krishna and tells this is how Radharani's condition is. And Lalita comes back and tells Radharani what Krishna said. Krishna said, I can be attained only by love. So she says, Radharani, love is the only way to attain Krishna. So Radharani goes to another friend of hers. Her name is Shata Chandranana. She is very learned in scriptures and very kind. So she asked Chandranana, tell me some puja by which I can develop love for the Lord. So Shata Chandranana tells Radharani to do Tulsi Vrata. Anyway, there's a lot of description. I'll tell you only one thing. Touching Tulsi, meditating on Tulsi, glorifying Tulsi, planting Tulsi, watering Tulsi, worshipping Tulsi. By these activities, all the sins of multiple lifetimes are burnt. And the benefits of worshipping Tulsi will remain till 1,000 crore yugas, not years. One leaf that you offer to Krishna satisfies Krishna forever. So, you please worship Tulsi. So then on yesterday's day, Radharani started her Tulsi Vrata of 6 months. She built one beautiful palace, temple of made of jewels for the pleasure of Tulsi Devi. She installed Tulsi Devi's Vigraha, deity, in that particular bhavan called as Indra Bhavan. It's called Indra Bhavan, which is very effulgent and golden and bejeweled. And she established Tulsi Devi's deity in that, and she began her 6 month vrata. First month she did Abhishek with Tulsi, that is in the month of Ashwin Purnima to Kartik Purnima. The next month she did Abhishek with cane juice, Ikshu Rasa. Next month, in month of Pausha, she bathed Tulsi Devi with Draksha, that is grape juice. And the next month she bathed Tulsi Devi every day for 30 days with mango juice. In the month of Falgun, that is Magh Purnima to Falgun Purnima, she bathed Tulsi Devi with sugar candy, mishri ras with lot of herbs. And finally, she bathed Tulsi Devi for 1 month, that is Falgun Purnima to Chaitra Purnima, with Panchamrita. And at the end of that, she offered Chappan Bhoga, Vastra, Alankar, lot of money to the Brahmins, fed 28 Brahmins, called Gargamuni as chief Brahmin, gave him 40 lakh kilos of pearls. 40 lakh kilos of pure pearls. And 40 crore kilos of gold as Dakshina to Gargamuni. And as a result of that, Tulsi Devi appeared and blessed Radharani. She just came down on an airplane, golden airplane. She descended on earth. And again, Tulsi Devi was worshipped by Radharani. And then finally, she said, "What do you want?" So Radharani said, "I want a boon, that I want to develop love for Krishna and I want to attain Krishna." And she said, "Tathastu." And after that, after Chaitra Purnima, next day this all happened. And after that, Krishna of course knew that she is doing vrata to attain me. So Krishna tested Radharani by taking the form of Gopa Devi and visiting her in the palace. It's a long story. And then finally offered himself to Radharani. Hari Bol. So I thought I should tell you that there are always multiple holy events taking place on Holy Tithi. So one of that on the Sharad Purnima day is the beginning of Tulsi Vrata of Radharani. On Chaitra Purnima day, it ends. Chaitra Purnima is another auspicious day where Chaitra, that is Vasanti Raasleela, begins and goes for 1 or 2 months. Also Chaitra Purnima time, Balramji came to Vrindavan to meet the Brajvasis and stayed for 2 months and performed his Raasleela with his gopis in Vrindavan. So this it goes on. So Kartik, this month, Damodar month, begins with what Tithi? Ashwin Purnima. And what is it known as? Sharad Purnima. So, Sharad Purnima is famous for what? On that day, first time, at the age of 8, Sri Krishna played on his flute and called all the gopis and performed his Raasleela, which is called as Sharadiya Raasleela. Sharad Rutu, Sharadiya, the autumn Raasleela festival. So what is Raasleela? There are many people have lots of misconceptions about this Raasleela. It is very, very difficult to understand this pastime. Most misunderstood and most misinterpreted pastime of the Lord to begin with. We should understand that, people understand that it is a pastime where Sri Krishna, the Lord, danced with others' wives in the middle of the night in the forest. This is what they understand. But we should understand, by the mercy of Acharyas, that it is not the pastime of lust. Because one man is dancing with many millions of women alone in the middle of the night. It is not the exhibition of lust. In fact, the highest expression of transcendental love that the Lord can ever exhibit is through Raasleela. So Raasleela is the highest form of love in the highest way for any jiva expressed by the Lord. The Lord can express His love in the highest way, in the highest form, in the highest method through Raasleela. So unless we are spiritually purified, this is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, we can't even attempt to understand. In fact, it is prohibited to hear Raasleela in the beginning stage of our bhakti. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the purport of 2nd canto 4th chapter, 10th verse, he writes that one must hear from all the other skandhas of Bhagavatam. For example, 3rd canto Srishti Leela and the charitra of Pandavas, Parikshit, Kunti. So many life stories are there in Bhagavatam. Then the Srishti Leela and the Destruction Leela, 5th canto, description of hells, heavens. Before hearing pastimes of Krishna and Gopis, one should hear these pastimes. Read these pastimes in Bhagavatam. One time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur sat for doing Bhagavatam Katha at Radha Kund. So everybody thought Radha Kund, in the middle of the Govardhan, in the middle of Vrindavan. They were all very, very eager to hear Krishna's pastimes from Thakur Bhaktisiddhanta, the Gurudeva Prabhupada. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke for 30 days in a row only on the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, 1.1.1. And he never spoke about anything about Krishna altogether. So we should understand why he did that, because he wanted to make people understand that without sufficiently purifying oneself, one should not attempt to hear about Radha and Krishna or to hear about Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. Even with the Gopalas, the cowherd boys, the cows and peacocks and everything also should not be heard till we are enough purified. That's why the first 9 cantos are there in Srimad Bhagavatam. 9 cantos, 9 long cantos about hundreds of stories about various people who are pure devotees and the incarnations of the Lord also. Their pastimes also explained. And in 9th canto, even though hurriedly, Shukdev Maharaj mentioned about Lord Ramchandra. And then he was told that if you go into now describing 24,000 verses of Srimad Ramayana, then where will Krishna Lila come? And by the time, in 7 days' time, Shukdev, Parikshit Maharaj will go by the curse. So how will you tell the 10th canto stories? So he immediately wound up and he told, there is one sloki Ramayana in 9th canto of Bhagavatam. In one sloka he covered the entire Ramayana. But Acharyas explained that this much mention also was very essential. Instead of skipping it, it was essential to mention about Lord Ram in the 9th canto of Bhagavatam before beginning 10th canto of Bhagavatam, because without following the Maryada or the rules and regulations given and exemplified by Lord Ramchandra, one is not eligible to listen to Krishna Leela. So one has to sufficiently purify oneself by following the rules and regulations as ordained and as followed by Lord Ramchandra, the Maryada that he has given. And then the 10th canto begins. So about Raasleela, it is explained that 10th canto is like face of the Supreme Lord. 12 cantos are different parts of the body of the Lord. First and second canto are the lotus feet of the Lord. Like that we climb up. 10th canto is the lotus face, the Mukha Kamal of the Lord. And Raasleela, the Rasa Panchadhyayi, that is 10th canto, 29th chapter to 33rd chapter. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. These 5 chapters are called as Rasa Panchadhyayi, and they are supposed to be the heart of Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is most difficult to understand unless there is a purity in life and unless there is mercy of the pure devotee of the Lord. So what is the qualification? Who is eligible? Who can who can qualify? Let me find out where it is written in my notes. Sometimes there are too many notes, so you get confused. Okay, it is over here. So let me explain to you, there are 4 kinds of people. One is called Bhogi. Bhogi is a person who stays in the body and enjoys the objects outside of the body from the Prakriti. Enjoying the objects from the world for one's own pleasure, using the body in that way. Then comes Yogi. Yogi also stays in body, but he enjoys within the self, the Atma. He gives up bodily pleasures and enjoys in the self. Atma Ramana. Then there is somebody who is Adi Yogi, who is not only enjoying himself within, but he enjoys with Paramatma. He enjoys his connection with Paramatma. He is called as वो व्यक्ति परमात्मा में रमण करते हैं. And then one time the person who is now in touch with the Supreme Lord, in service, in action, in words, in thoughts, he becomes so purified and so much nirpeksha that the Lord starts enjoying with him. So it is said that the bhogi and the yogi are not eligible to enter the Raasleela. They are not fit for Raasleela. Adi yogi can become the audience, he can become the spectator from distance. But when the Lord will choose a particular jeev or a group of jivas to enjoy with, to enjoy in them or to enjoy them, it is called Raasleela. थोड़ा हिंदी में बताते हैं आपको, थोड़ा आनंद आएगा आपको. आत्मा और जीव स्वयं रासलीला नहीं कर सकते. भोगी और योगी रासलीला के योग्य नहीं होते. जब भगवान आत्मा या जीव में रमण करना चाहते हैं तो उसे रासलीला कहते हैं. ऐसे आत्मा और जीव रासलीला में केवल सहयोग कर सकते हैं, सहयोग के लिए प्रयास कर सकते हैं. भगवान के रास में हम केवल प्रयास कर सकते हैं भगवान को सहायता करने की, पर रास करते हैं भगवान और रास में आनंद भी भगवान ही लेते हैं. हरे कृष्णा. सो व्हाट इज द क्वालिफिकेशन to be able to be enjoyed by the Lord? Ananya Sharanagati, unconditional surrender to the Lord, to the will of the Lord, by words, thoughts and action. Acceptance of things as they are, as the mercy of the Lord. Another mindset is Tat Sukha Sukhitvam. That means I'm always, or we are always busy and engrossed in thinking about the pleasure of the Lord. Tat Sukham. Tat Sukha Sukhitvam. My happiness is only His happiness. To give Him happiness is my happiness. And Tat Sukha Magnata. We are constantly magna, absorbed in the thoughts how to please Krishna. And in that, Purna Nirpekshata. That means there is no expectation for oneself. When I will please the Lord, I will also be happy. Even that expectation is not there. And no other material expectation is there that if I please Him, I'll become more rich, I'll become more beautiful, my life will become longer and I'll become famous and so many successes in life will come. No material expectations at all. Nispruha, Niswartha and Nirpekshata at the level of body, mind and words and thoughts. And on top of that, if this is called as suppose milk, then the cream is love. There is love for the Lord at the same time. So again I repeat, when there is love and there is nispruha, niswartha and nirpeksha attitude towards the Lord with the level of body, mind and words, constantly thinking how to please the Lord and becoming absorbed in that thought, and ananya sharanagati, exclusive unconditional surrender. When you do all these things, it doesn't mean we become qualified. We create a platform of qualification, but then Krishna will choose us that, okay, I will choose this jiva for my pleasure. And then when that happens, actual Raasleela begins. That is why it is so rare. In Vrindavan also, we should understand that all the gopis did not participate in Raasleela. Vrindavan Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains from Ujjwal Neelamani, written by Jiva Rupa Goswami, that there are Nitya Siddha Gopis and Sadhana Siddha Gopis. Okay. So, Sadhana Siddha Gopis are of different types. One are Rishicharis, those who were Rishis in Dandakaranya. They developed their conjugal mood and they became Gopis by the mercy of Lord Ram. Shrutichari, that means the Vedas became Gopis and they worshipped the Lord and they became Gopis in Vrindavan. Deva Kanyas, those who were daughters of demigods or demigoddesses, they worshipped Krishna and they became Gopis in Vrindavan. Different kinds of, hundreds of types of Gopis are there. But there are some specific Gopis, like these three I explained to you. These specific Gopis who have come by different methods, they come under the shelter of Nitya Siddha Gopis, like Radharani, Lalita, Vishakha and so many permanent associates of the Lord. And under their association, they get trained. And thus they are becoming qualified. So Nitya Siddha Gopis gave their association to Sadhana Siddha Gopis, and these gopis did not indulge in family affairs. They didn't get entangled into family life of husband. So these gopis only were allowed to enter Raasleela. Please understand. Some of the gopis got married, got children. They were not allowed to enter the Raasleela. So it is so rare. We have to be completely free, and the Lord then has to choose us out of those freed people. So Acharyas explained that to the degree one becomes advanced in bhakti, the divine aspects of life increase and material aspects of life go on decreasing. When one achieves pure love for God, material aspects get nullified and the body, words and mind become completely spiritual. So 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam describes these beautiful pastimes of Raasleela. I don't know, you have heard the verse Baraha Pidam Natavara Vapu. There are two verses in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto where Lord Krishna is walking in the forest, herding cows with his friends, wearing peacock feather, his curly locks of hair cascading down his shoulder, his dhoti, pitambar, glistening like millions of suns. He's playing flute, both the brothers are playing flute. These two verses were heard by Shukdev Goswami also. When he was born and he took 16-year-old form and he just started walking away. On the way he heard these two verses and he stopped. He was just leaving home and going. Vyasadeva was following him. But somewhere he heard children singing these two verses. And he heard these two verses and he stopped and he asked the children, from where you learned these verses? So they said, our Gurudev taught us. So he said, can I meet your Gurudev and learn these verses from him? So he said, yeah. So they collected the wood, put on the head and they started walking, come behind us. So Shukdev ji followed these young boys, small boys, and they led him to his father's house. That is Vyasadev's house, from where he had left to leave, to go away. So they were disciples of Vyasadeva and they were learning Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva. And thus Shukdev Goswami stayed back in the house of his father again and learned the entire Bhagavad, including these two verses. So these two verses are the origin of love in the hearts of gopis also. When these two verses were sung, the same scene was there in front of their eyes. Baraha, Pidam, Natavara. Baraha means peacock feather. Natavara means the dancing Supreme Lord, the beautiful Natavar. Very beautiful description is there of the Lord's body, physical description and his movements. So at that point of time, it is said consider milk as love. So the milk appeared. And Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 29th chapter to 33rd chapter. These 5 chapters have got 5 Gitas, 5 different songs. One song is Venu Geet, where Krishna played the flute. It is called Venu Geet. It is said during Venu Geet time, when Krishna played the flute, what happened? The milk that was created now put on fire of boiling, to make it more thicker. Then there is Pranay Geet. The boiling started when Pranay Geet took place. And then Gopi Geet, when they were separated from Krishna and they were wandering in the forest searching for Krishna. That is Gopi Geet. At Gopi Geet time, their love became perfect. The love that erupted, boiled and became perfect. Then that perfected love further matured, became drinkable at Yugal Geet, which is further explained. And then finally, Bhramar Geet. Bhramar Geet is the song of Bumblebee. Bumblebee came to Radharani at Bhramar Ghat and Radharani spoke to her as if he was Krishna, using good words, bad words, teasing, complaining, all kinds of bhav. So it is said at Bhramar Geet, these gopis, they actually tasted the divine mellow of love. So this is called as Pancha Prema Upasana of Brajbhumi. This is how these 5 chapters are studied analytically, categorized and understood by the Rasika Acharyas. Now, what is Raasleela? We have different kinds of pastimes in Vrindavan, right? Shantaras pastimes, then pastimes of servitude, pastimes of friendship with cowherd boys, cow herding pastimes. Then there are pastimes of Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and elderly Gopas and Gopis, loving Krishna as mother, father, uncles, aunties, Vatsalya is there. And then there is Madhurya, the Gopis' love for Krishna, unparalleled. So if we see pastimes of killing demons, then Putana Leela is classified as Karuna Pradhan Leela, where Putana was so fallen and so degraded and so debauchy kind of lady, but she was given such benediction by Krishna. Unbelievable, unimaginable, achintya. She became the Dhatri of Yashoda Devi in spiritual world. Straight she got the position of that. So it's called Karuna Pradhan Leela. Govardhan Leela is called Ashray Pradhan Leela, because all of them were in difficulty, and Govardhan gave them ashray, shelter. They were sheltered, and not only sheltered, they were given unlimited pleasure of being together, of all kinds of people being together. But Raasleela is called as Samrat Leela. The Maharani of all Leela is Raasleela. Sab Leelaon ki Maharani. So this is how we have to understand the glory of this pastime. So now we come to a description of Gopeshwar Mahadev. Why? I'll tell you why I'm going to this pastime. Because it is explained that when we worship Gopeshwar Mahadev, we gain entrance into Krishna's pastimes with gopis. How? I will explain to you. So there are 3 different pastimes of different types of same pastime. Shankar and Parvati are 2 souls who have received permanent residence in Vrindavan Dham by the dint of their Traimasik Vrata, 90 days Vrat that they performed, as explained by Lord Vishnu. And they are always absorbed in thoughts of Radha and Krishna. One time, Lord Shiva thought that he should attend Raasleela. He was enamored. So he left Kailas and came straight to Vrindavan. And he was stopped by hundreds of gopis who were very strong, not physically, but looking very strong and stern, holding sticks in hand, guarding the Rasa Mandala. They stopped Shiva. Can you imagine the position of gopis? They can stop Mahadev. Mahadev, even Brahma, who is his father, the creator of the universe, worships him, glorifies him as Mahadev, gods of all gods, the great gods of all gods. These girls in thousands of numbers are stopping him. Hey, you cannot go inside. Only one man is there. You are also man, you cannot go inside. But Lord Shiva is not going to give up at the time. Tell me how I can go inside. What is the method? So the gopis said, you need to worship Bhagavati Yogamaya. So then Lord Shiva immediately worshipped her and pleased her. Purnamasi appeared and she brought Shiva to Brahmakund. This is one pastime. And she dipped Lord Shiva and gave him bath in Brahmakund, and immediately he attained the form of a gopi, very beautiful young baby gopi, young girl. And she brought him to, again, Rasasthali, to northeast direction, and told him, you see, told her, you sit down here and watch the last Leela. You can watch from here. Because he had come to see the Raasleela. So then Raasleela began inside. They didn't know what happened outside. So they were dancing. Suddenly the gopis did not feel the pleasure like they used to feel. Like Srivas Angan, suddenly the kirtan stopped and they understand, oh, today there is no much happiness, something is wrong. Who is there who is unqualified? So they found Srivas's mother-in-law. So Srivas pulled her by hair and threw her out of the house. Then one time they found the milk-drinking brahmachari. So again he was sent out like that. So all of them came out and they found this young girl sitting and watching Raasleela. So they asked many questions. Bhadimar means questions one after another. Who are you? What is your name? Which village are you from? Who are your parents? Who is your husband? Who are your in-laws? So she could not give any answer. because neither she was born in Vrindavan, neither she was married to somebody, neither she had a village or a house or inheritance in Vrindavan. So she just kept quiet, no answer, full silence. The gopis started slapping her because of no reply. And you can see there were not one or two gopis, there were millions of gopis. All of them started clapping. So it is said that the cheeks of this beautiful gopi became swollen, red and swollen and painful. And because having no answer, this gopi started crying and crying and crying. So Purnamasi came there out of compassion and she said to the gopis and to Krishna, please be kind to this gopi. Krishna, knowing the mind of Purnamasi, gave her name Gopishwara. So Namakaran Krishna did. Gave her position to guard the Rasamandal. Okay, now you are officially posted here, not Agantuk. And the boon Krishna gave to this gopi, that any sadhaka who will try to enter Vrindavan without your blessing and without your darshan, he will be unable to enter Vrindavan, especially unable to understand anything about my pastime with gopis. So, you be here in Rasamandal. Now, this is why I told you, because everybody must visit Gopeshwar Mahadev when they go to Vrindavan. Because Gopeshwar Mahadev is blessed by Lord Krishna himself to give you entrance, not physically, spiritually, not only in physical land of Vrindavan, but in the Leela of the Lord. Now, support by our Acharyas. Gaudiya Goswamis described that gopis came to Gopeshwar Mahadev later on and worshipped him to obtain seva to Krishna, obtain service to Krishna. Let us chant one verse, which is in the Vraja Vilasa Stava by Raghunath Das Goswami, verse number 87. Muda gopendrasyatmaja bhuja parishvanga nidhaye spurada gopi vrindairmaiha bhagavantam pranayibihi bhajadbhistair bhaktya swam bhilashitam praptum chirad yamiti re gopishwaram anudinam tam kila bhaje. To obtain the jewel of Alingan, Bhuja Parishwanga, of Rajendranandan Sham Sundar, gopis joyfully worshipped Sadashiva, being firm in loving intimate asakti for Krishna. All their desires were fulfilled without delay. To this Lord Shiva, Gopeshwar, I worship daily at the banks of Yamuna, Yami Tire. Who is saying this? Raghunath Das Goswami in his beautiful book called Vraja Leela Stava. Second quoting, second support, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In Sankalpa Kalpadruma, Shlok number 103, Pranam Mantra of Gopeshwar, indicates that Gopeshwar Mahadev is the bestower of Ananya Krishna Prem. You can chant with me if you like. There is Pranam Mantra of Gopeshwara. Vrindavana Vanipate Jaya Soma Soma Maule Sanaka Sanandana Sanatana Naradedya Gopishwara Vrajavilasi Yugangri Padme Prema Prayacha Nirupadhi Namo Namaste Namo Namaste. O gatekeeper of Vrindavan, O Soma, all glories to you, whose forehead is endowed, decorated with moon. You are worshipped by 4 Kumaras and Narad Muni. O Gopishwara, I pray that you bestow upon me prem for Radha Madhav's lotus feet. Don't get distracted. This is a prayer. Again, I repeat. O Gopeshwar, I pray that you please bestow upon me love for the lotus feet of Radha Madhav who perform their Prem Lila in Vrindavan. I offer my pranams to you again and again. This is what we are offering. The second kind of story about Gopeshwar Mahadev is, there was one Muni called Asuri Muni. His name was Asuri, but he was not Asura. He was a name, Asuri, not Asuri. He used to see Krishna and Leela of Krishna in his dhyan every day, in his sadhana. One day he did not get, so he was upset. So he went to search for Krishna. Where is Krishna has gone? He went to Badrinath, Lokaloka Parvat, Ksheresagar, Vaikuntha, Golok Vrindavan. He could not find Krishna. Everywhere he was told he was not there. Then he went to Kailas, and there he got information that Krishna has gone to that Brahmanda where he had appeared as Prishnigarbha and Vamandev earlier. He has gone there to play Raasleela with his gopis. So he saw Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva was about to get ready, something like getting ready to go somewhere. So Asuri Muni asked, where are you going? So Shiva said, Lord Krishna is about to start his Raasleela pastime. I am just going to go there. You want to come with me? Please come. So both of them reached, and Raasleela was about to begin. And what happened was, again they were stopped by the gopis. And they were asked, who are you? Where do you want to go? They said, we want to see Raasleela. Again, only ladies can go inside. You cannot go inside. You are both men. What we should do? Gopis said, Lalita Vishaka said, go and take bath in Man Sarovar. Man Sarovar is a place where Radharani one time got angry with Krishna, crossed Jamuna, sat there and cried hot tears of anger and separation. And a whole pond was formed. Very intense kind of emotions were expressed over there. And that intense pond was formed. Lord Shiva and Asuri Muni was asked to take bath in that. They went and took bath in that, desiring to attain darshan of Raasleela. And because of that, they attained the body of Gopi. And they came running, they jumped over Yamuna and they came running to Rasa Mandal again. All the gopis laughed. Why the gopis laughed? Because Lord Shiva was so absorbed in the mood of attaining Krishna and having darshan of Raasleela that he forgot that he also had snakes on him. And because Shiva had the bhava, intensity of bhav to see Raasleela, he got the body of a gopi, but the snakes did not have the desire. So snakes remain snakes only. Now you can see the beautiful lady has got a lot of snakes on him. How does it look? So looking at his eagerness and unawareness of having snakes on him, in spite of having them on his body, Lalita Vishaka appreciated. So Lalita Vishaka decorated that beautiful gopi who was Shiva with Sola Shringar, and then held her hand and took her in the middle of Rasa Mandal, where on the golden throne, in the bejeweled golden throne, Shyam Sundar and Radha were sitting. They gave chamar in his hand. And Lord Shiva, chamara dulabo kabe heribo mukha chandra. While doing chamar seva, he was observing the beautiful lotus face of Radha and Shyam Sundar. After doing long time service, Radha Madhav were very happy with them, with him and them both. And Lord Shiva was told, now you please stay here only, don't leave me, just go outside the Rasa Mandala and sit and observe Rasa Mandala and also protect my Rasa Mandala from, intruding people who are not qualified. And without taking your darshan, people will not be able to enter Vrindavan and enter my pastimes. So he was blessed multiply by Krishna. So this is how I told this story to you, because we are now, I don't know how much the authorities will allow me to speak. I not even started my lecture. It's just the beginning, warming up. Anyways, so now what Lord Shiva saw as Rasamandal? Rasamandal was a golden land bedecked with Padma Raga jewels, decorated with Madhavi creepers and Kadamba trees, and moonlight was spreading all over this greenery in the middle of darkness. The steps at the banks of Yamuna, they were filled with jewels. Peacocks, swans, chataka bird, cuckoo birds were singing very sweetly. Cool, fragrant and soft air was flowing, carrying the fragrance of lotus flowers from Yamuna. Due to the trees and creepers, due to that, the breeze, the trees and creepers were moving very gently, very attractively. Bees were singing, beautiful musical instruments were being played by the demigods. Festoons were hung everywhere. Each pillar in that forest was decorated with golden kalash and decorated with white and red flowers. There were fragrance of 1,000-petaled lotuses spread everywhere with the breeze coming from Yamuna. Radhika was effulgent as Padmini Naika, Hansagamini, walking like the swan, she swan. Like millions of moons, she was effulgent, was gloriously sitting in the middle of Rasamandal with Lord Shyam Sundar. He was surrounded by millions of jewel-like gopis. His beauty was defeating millions of cupids. He was holding Vamshi in one hand and cow-herding stick Lakoti in another. Kaustubh Mani, Srivatsa, Vanamala were looking very beautiful on his chest. Different ornaments were dazzling on his fingers, on his wrists, arms, neck, ears, waist, and ankles. Wearing peacock feather crown on his head, he was mesmerizing all the gopis with his tempting long glances. This was the situation which Lord Shiva observed when he came to see. Now we'll go to the descriptions of Krishna's flute, which is the beginning of Raasleela. Krishna's flute, it's of different types. Krishna's flute is called as Murli, Venu, Basuri, Mohini, and so on and so forth. Gross description is 6 inches flute is called Venu, 12 inches flute is called Basuri, and 18 inches is called Murli. And there are either 5, 6 or 8 holes in that. It is said Mohini is very, very powerful. When Krishna plays his flute, everyone loses their sense. Krishna plays 21 melodies on his flute. Hearing Krishna's flute, gopis get mad with the desire of having darshan of Krishna. Their bodies tremble. They lose all sense of dressing, ornamentation, makeup, hairstyle, etc. Sri Vrindavan is like Kalpa Vriksha, the desire-fulfilling land, which allows an opportunity for darshan of Krishna's beauty. Krishna plays his flute and gives 11 different moods to the gopis, by acquiring these 11 different moods, by hearing the flute, the devotees get liberated from all the bondages and return back home, back to Godhead. With these moods, the devotees attain liberation from everything they're attached to, and gopis also forget their fear and shyness. Now there are 8 noteworthy effects of the flute. I will not describe because time is very short. Of connected today is the 5th note. The 5th note is dedicated to gopis only. 8th note is dedicated to Radha only. Out of all the gopis, is only meant for Radha. So when he wants to only have pastime with Radha, 8th note is played. But he wants to have pastime with all the gopis, he plays 5th note. What happens when we play 5th note? By the way, we should all know that Krishna performed Raasleela after 1 year of Govardhan Leela. Krishna was 8-year-old that time. He was born in Chandra Vamsha. Radharani was born in Surya Vamsha. That's why moon has a very important role to play in Krishna Leela of Raasleela. So Krishna saw Ashwin Purnima full moon. And Srimad Bhagavatam explains, Shukdev Muni explains that the moon was looking reddish in color at the horizon of the creation. It was as if the husband is putting kumkum on his newly wedded wife. The whole sky was looking like kumkum in the form of moon in the horizon. And then by this darshan of moon, Krishna desired to perform loving pastime with the gopis. And he took out his flute and played 5th note. And what happened? Again, long description, cut short. Because it was only meant for gopis, gopis could hear it. Another explanation given by the acharyas is that because gopis had keen desire, intense desire to meet Krishna, they were able to hear the flute. So who can hear the flute of Krishna? It is explained Krishna is playing his flute constantly, all the time. But we are unable to hear it because our heart is full of noise of our material desire, and which is very close. What is close is heard more, what is far is not heard. When the close noise is quietened, then you can hear distant sound. In Vrindavan, when I was staying, in Jagannath Ghat, they would always sing Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya. But we used to only hear that at 11:30 in the night. And daytime would not hear it. So one time out of curiosity, I went searching that sound, and I went to that temple only where this 24 hours. Now, where the kirtan was going on. I said, how much time you sing? He said, we sing 24 hours. In the same volume, yeah, same volume. So why it was heard only in night? Because at night time, my close by sound would be quiet. So that time distant sound would be heard. Daytime the noise and the closeness will increase in the vicinity. So distant sound was not heard. Similarly, when there is noise of material desires within the heart, the call of Krishna in the form of flute is not heard by us. When we quieten all this noise of material desires, it becomes completely quiet, then the loving call of Krishna is heard in the form of the flute. So when Krishna played the flute, what happened? Some gopis were milking cows, some were feeding children on breast, some were having baths, some were wearing cosmetics, some were wearing clothes, some were serving their husbands, some were boiling milk, some were churning yogurt. And one of the gopi was about to serve dinner to her father-in-law. Tari bahu, thali to lagao. So she was preparing his thali. And also it was time to feed the cows with chara, bhusa. And while she was preparing the thali for her father-in-law, the flute sound came. And she was completely bewildered. So the full thali she offered the cow, and bhusa she offered the father-in-law. And like that, now we can another go for 1 hour. What happened when Krishna's flute sound came? They wore the dress upside down, they put mascara on the cheeks, they put the necklace on the abdomen, on the foot, as ankle bells as necklace, and earrings somewhere, and something on the waist belt, all kinds of useless things, stupid things they did, apparently. But they were in completely trance, they were not knowing what they were doing. They lost their sense of rationality. And while doing these irrational things, very funny things so-called, they also ran away from the house. Their mother, father, brother and husbands, they tried to stop them, but they were irresistible. They could not stop them. They just ran like wind. Some of the gopis were stopped, as I explained to you. Those who had interest and asakti in the family life, who married and who had children, they were able to be stopped. And they were imprisoned by latches and locked in the houses. But because of the enamored condition by the flute, they developed so much desire to meet Krishna that they burned in separation. In that fire of separation, they were completely purified. They sat in meditation, in trance, and they felt the embrace of Krishna. And with that subtle union of Krishna, they gave up their bodies and they entered Golok Vrindavan directly. They needed to get purified, so they got purified by this unique way. And others could go physically, crossing their barriers of relatives, and entered the forest. And then what happened? As I explained to you, when they entered the forest, they saw beautiful creepers, trees, many creepers, many trees, the moonlight, the blossoming flowers and fruits and fragrances coming from lotuses from Jamuna. And at that time, Krishna welcomed them. He had played the flute, he had called them. So they came, and then Krishna welcomed them. Oh, beautiful girls, welcome. I hope everything is fine in Braja. Why have you come here? So he said, now many things are there. They were enamored by the sound of flute and call of Krishna. They lost all their fear and they ran without any fear or any lajja, maryada, lajja, shishtachar, and they ran in darkness in the middle of forest. Krishna said, welcome, why have you come here? Krishna said, it's frightening over here, leave immediately. There are wild animals lurking and coming out. It is not a good place for women to stay here. Not finding you at home, your mother, father, husband, brothers, children will be searching for you anxiously. Don't give them pain. Return immediately. Gopi said, listening to your free advice. It is explained by Srimad Bhagavatam that they considered it like a free advice. We didn't want this advice. He is giving us the advice. Instead of looking at Krishna, I started looking here and there. Sometimes when I don't want to hear you, what you are saying, I just started looking here and then. Like, I don't want to hear you. They started looking aside as if they were looking at the beauty of Vrindavan. So Krishna says, oh, now you have finished looking at Vrindavan beauty, now you can leave. They were angry and they were discouraged. Krishna said, now that you have seen Vrindavan beauty, full of flowers, moonlight, cool breeze, flowers and fruits, go. Serve your husbands, give milk to your crying babies. I agree that you love me and for my sake you have come. But the primary duty of all of you is to serve your husband, take care of children and family duties nicely, favorably. If women desire good destination, they should never abandon their husbands, even if they are obnoxious, unfortunate, old, foolish, diseased and poor. If they have not deviated from the path of dharma, and if they are obnoxious, dukhi, miserable, old, foolish, diseased and poor, but if they are fixed on dharma, one should not give up the husband. I mean, the context is different here, but this is very important to understand. Then Krishna said, petty vyabhichar, petty adulteration, petty illicit activities are not advisable for all of you. It's condemned. You have given up your bona fide relations and you have come to meet me. Such ladies are barred from Swarga. They get defaming, they get miseries, they get bhai, fear in their life. Those who give up their husband and go to somebody else. If you want to develop love for me, I understand you have come because you love me. Yeah, I know that everybody in the universe loves me because they are all my parts and parcel and I am the object of their love. But you should understand there is no need to be physically proximately close to me, physically being proximate with me. If you want to develop love for me, Shravan, listening to my pastimes, chanting my names, singing my names, worshipping my deity, meditating on me is important. And that can be done from distance also. There is no need to be physically close. Standing close, go back. Now what is Gopi's reaction? They have not come to hear all this philosophy from him. They had given up all the attachments long back. When they left home, they left. It's like, when you want to take bath in the river, you remove the clothes to the bank of the river and you enter the river. You don't go inside with the clothes. That is compared to giving up your desires and attachments. So all their attachments they already had given up and they had come to actually not enjoy with Krishna but to please Krishna. To be in association and to please him they had come. They were totally selfless actually. They had no material desire to enjoy with him, loving pastimes. So what is their reaction? They were discouraged, they were morose, they were feeling frustrated, they were having terrible anxiety, their mind was totally disturbed, their heads were hanging, they were taking long breaths and their lips were getting dry. And what they were doing? They were drawing circles with their big toes on the ground in frustration. They were shedding tears incessantly. And what was happening? The kumkum on their chest and the mascara in their eyes, the black and the red color were all flowing with tears and collecting on the ground, making the ground colored. Their heart was filled with pain. It was burdened with lot of pain. And they were mauna, they were stabda, they could not utter a word. Finally, with incessant tears, they were not able to speak. But finally, they composed themselves and started responding. They did not reply harshly. Although they wanted to reply harshly, they were angry, frustrated, but they somehow managed themselves to speak very softly. They said, with faltering voice, don't reject us. Don't speak such harsh words, such cruel words to us. Whatever duties you have explained to us, very beautiful, but we have left all the duties long back. Long back. Duties towards you are higher than the duties which we have left behind, which you explained as our philosophy. Please do not call us Vyabhichari. Do not call us as ladies performing illicit activities. You have stolen our hearts. You played the flute. Tell me, which woman in this whole 14 planets, after hearing the flute from you, who will be able to maintain the principles of dharma? who will not get deviated. You ignited the fire of love in our hearts by playing your flute. Due to that, you stole our mind, hearts that were absorbed in household activities. That means we were doing our household activities. You stole our hearts from those. You distracted us. You deviated us from those activities and duties and attracted ourselves to you. We can't go away. Whatever you are saying is quite contradictory. We can't go away from a lotus feet. Please pour your nectar of love on our burning hearts, or else we will burn to death due to the fire of separation. Lakshmi, they are giving example to Krishna. Shrestha Pativrata, the best Pativrata, the Acharya of Pada Sevanam, she also gives up the lotus feet of Vishnu and comes to reside in your heart in a disguised form out of embarrassment. She doesn't want to come in the human form. She has come in the form of a streak and she wants to take your association. How is that possible? You are allowing her to give up her duty and stay on your chest. Please accept us. We have abandoned all our attachments to be with you, to serve you, and to associate with you, to give pleasure to you. You have taken birth to relieve the distress and fear of all the Brijvasis. Please place your hand on our heads and do not fear, your hand will not get burnt. You will feel pleasure like lotus flowers when you will touch our heads. With this description, so it's a long description, I'm cutting short. At this point of time, the description that gopis gave, the arguments and the feelings they expressed, as per Shukdev Goswami, they passed the test of Krishna. Krishna started enjoying with them. Then Krishna started serving them. Then he decided not to further harass them. This is like 10th canto, 29th chapter, last verses. Then Krishna massaged their feet, brought water for them from Jamuna. He gave them broad smiles, sidelong glances. He sang for them. He wandered with them, holding their hands in moonlight, and brought them to Yamuna. He touched their bodies, he scratched their bodies with love, he stroked their bodies, he laughed, he joked with them. But all this time, when he was doing all these things, he had already taken many, many forms. Each gopi thought that he is only with me. They are not started dancing, they are just doing warming up, just talking to each other, stroking, sidelong glances, loving glances, gestures. Gopis were having gestures, Krishna is having gestures, looking into eyes, going to Jamuna, splashing water. But all gopis were thinking that he is only with me. And with that only they got proud. This is at the end of 10.29 chapter. And Krishna, as soon as gopis became proud, they thought, I'm so special. I'm the best woman on the earth. That's why Krishna has abandoned everybody only for my sake. So he left. Acharya explains, Shukdev Maharaj explains why he left. He left because he wanted to relieve gopis of their so-called pride. He also wanted to exhibit Vairagya and he wanted to increase his mercy on them and show them greater mercy, to enhance his mercy, to further the mercy. Suddenly gopis realized, they became very sad. Why we became proud? He was with us. I thought he was only with me, but now I come to know why by all of you that he was with all of you. He was with all of us. Why we have become proud? But we lost him. And then they started remembering Krishna. They were miserable with the thought of losing Krishna, but they felt happy when they remembered Krishna and remembered what? His smiles, his movements, his glances, his enchanting talks, his beautiful association. And then what they did, first they remembered and they felt so-called little bit happy. So what is the lesson for us? When we remember Krishna, his instructions and his pastimes, we will always be relieved of our miseries. Then further what they did, they started calling out trees. Different trees, are long list is there, about 25 trees. Each trees they are calling, have you seen our Krishna? Has he passed by you? Has he passed by you, touching his lotus beautiful hands and giving pleasure to you? We are smelling the kunda flower garlands he was wearing before he left us. And we are getting two kinds of smells over here. One is kunda flower garland, that is kunda is jasmine, mogra. And we are also getting a smell of kumkum. And I'll explain to you. So they started enacting. Quickly I'll explain to you. They first, one gopi perfectly called for the cows as Krishna calls. Another said, well done, well done. Then one climbed over the other gopi on shoulder and put her foot on the head. And oh, wicked Kaliya, I have come to destroy you, who are all envious snakes. So they acted Kaliya Leela. Another said, close your eyes, I will save you from fire. And they performed Davana Leela. And then they saw, and like that it is explained, Trinavarta Leela, Kaliya Leela, Davana Leela, so many Leelas they performed. Cow herding pastimes, they all performed, enacting, I am Krishna, see how I walk. They were trying to relieve their agony of losing Krishna by performing activities which Krishna had performed. Suddenly they saw footprints of Krishna, which had flag, the gourd, Ankusha, or Indra's Vajra, or Chakra, or jaw, that is barley. They followed those footprints and they saw another pair of footprints along with Krishna's footprints. They saw that Krishna's footprints first, much deeper than before, and after some time, no other footprints next to that. So now they are weaving a story in the mind. First, when they saw two sets of footprints, they understand Krishna has left all of us for the sake of that one dearmost gopi, to give her individual, secluded, private love. And then they walk further, they follow the footsteps and they find only Krishna's footprints are there, but they are half and deeper. So they are concluding that gopi must have got tired walking through the pebbles and stones, and Krishna wanted to save her from pebbles and stones. So Krishna must have lifted her on his shoulder. That is why his footprints are deeper. Then further they see again the footprints. So they are saying that now he must have taken her down to pluck some flowers for her pleasure. And then they see one pair of footprints half and deeper, and one pair of footprints full. So they are thinking that he must be raising his feet to pluck the flowers from the trees. So his half footprints deeper are seen. And then they see both footprints. So there they say that, oh, Krishna must be decorating her hair with the flowers that he plucked for her. And then actually these things were happening. They were not just imagining. Actually it was happening. Krishna had left with only Radharani. So Krishna wandered with Radharani in the forest. And then Radharani, he really adored her, dressed her up nicely, decorated her hair, gave her sweet words, gave her hand, allowed her to climb on his shoulder, carried her. So much of personal love he expressed for her. And then Radharani said, I can't walk any further. So Krishna said, just walk on my shoulder. But Krishna had also seen the entry of some pride in the heart of Radharani. So he sat down and told her to climb on my shoulder, I'll carry you. And as soon as she went to climb on him, he disappeared. And then as soon as Krishna disappeared, she just shouted very loudly. Some acharyas give a nice explanation. She did not become proud, but she was hearing the cries of the gopis who were searching in the forest. She felt very bad for them, that I am alone enjoying with Krishna, leaving all my friends in separation. So she wanted to leave actually. So apparently she was feeling proud. And Krishna disappeared, and then she shouted loudly, and the gopis anyway were searching Krishna. They heard the sound of crying loudly of her, their beloved Radharani. So they rushed towards sound. They found Radharani, and Radharani explained how he adored her, how he served her, how he was alone with her. And they all then started crying because they all have lost Krishna now. And that's how Gopi Geet starts. Gopi Geet starts when Radharani joins Krishna. Now there are different explanations. First, when Krishna disappeared, it is explained that he became a gopi because anyway it was dark, only moonlight was there. So he assumed the form of gopi and was observing how the gopis were expressing love of separation for him. He was watching all the gopis, in the middle of the gopis only. One explanation. Second explanation, he went with Radharani alone, and what I explained happened. Another explanation is, he went with Radharani to Nidhivan. And there's one beautiful pastime took place that I'll tell you a little later on. So now when she came back, they all cried together and they all glorified Krishna together. And they together started wandering in the forest singing Gopi Geet. Now, what is Gopi Geet? It is explained that they were expressing their matured love at this time. Gopi Geet is also a prarthana. It's a prayer to call Krishna to meet. So Acharyas explain that we do prarthana, we do prayer, sometimes in want of something. At the higher level, we do prayer with love. But Acharyas explain that we should not pray with love, we should become love only. So gopis are not singing with love. Gopis have become love for Krishna. They have become personified love. So when the song of love becomes love itself, that becomes Gopi Geet. So Gopi Geet, it is said today from the physical platform, the gopis are not with us. But the gopis are very much with us in the form of Gopi Geet. This is the beauty of Gopi Geet. So we will only discuss two shlokas. One is Jayati te dhikam janmana braja Shrayata indira shashvadatrahi Daita drishyatam dikshutavakas Tvaidruta savas tvam vichinvate. Your birth in Braj has made it very glorious. Indira, Lakshmi Devi, eternally is residing over here because of your birth. We maintain our life heirs only for you, my Lord. Please give us your darshan. We are searching you everywhere. So like that it is explained that prarthi, that means one who does prarthana. When he offers prarthana, he should become prarthana and he should not remain. Prarthi नहीं बचना चाहिए, केवल प्रार्थना ही बचनी चाहिए. जब प्रार्थना में प्रार्थी समाप्त होता है और प्रार्थना रूप बन जाता है तो प्रार्थना सफल हो जाती है, फिर कृष्ण उसको प्रतिसाद देते हैं. And then another important verse is तव कर्थामृतम तप्त जीवनम कवि विरीडितम kalmashaapaham. Here the gopis are describing the glory of Krishna's pastimes. The nectar of your katha is the life and soul for those who are suffering in this world. These kathas destroyed all sinful activities. They bring up good fortune. They are filled with transcendental power. They are broadcasted by very merciful, kind and benevolent devotees. And those who spread Krishna Lila are most munificent. Bhuri da janaha. At this point of time, they are walking and dancing and singing. I mean, not dancing, but walking and singing and searching at the same time. Suddenly, at the bank of Yamuna, they saw a person sitting in meditation with closed eyes, golden in color, wearing peacock feather and wearing dhoti, yellow color dhoti, pitambar. So all gopis suddenly saw this particular person in deep meditation and they started discussing among themselves, who is he, who is he, who is he? He looks like Krishna, he has peacock feather, he has all features like Krishna, but he is fair in color, he is golden in color, like your color, Radharani. Who is he, who is he? They are discussing, guessing, and then they finally say, Radharani, you go and find out who is he. So she goes up and touches this person who is deep in meditation. Now again there is a beautiful shloka, Kalindi Tata Kunja Mandira Gato in Radha Rasudanidhi, which explains that Sri Krishna also was not happy leaving the gopis and Radharani. He was in the middle of the forest, sitting in the kunja, and what he was doing? He had closed his eyes. In the courtyard of his heart, he is meditating on the two lotus feet of Radharani, and with his lips he is uttering softly, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. What he was uttering? He was chanting Radharani's name and meditating on her lotus feet. Perfect deep trance, which had transformed him from Ghanasham color to golden color, golden effulgent color, which he did not know himself. With his closed eyes, he didn't know the transformation that has taken place because of his deep meditation on Radharani. So Radharani went and amazingly, feeling amazement, touched this personality, and slowly that golden color disappeared and the dark cloud color peeped in, and he became completely dark and he opened his eyes. That means he became Krishna. And Radharani identified that he is Krishna. And she was so surprised, happy to see him and happy to also see the transformation that took place in front of her eyes. And he asked, "What is this miracle?" So he said, "I was in deep trance of your love. And when I was meditating on you and chanting your name, I experienced such love which I had never experienced before any time. And I was deeply immersed in the ocean of that love, and that time you touched me and disturbed me. Now because you have touched me and disturbed me and disconnected me from that beautiful ocean of love, I am feeling great separation from that love which I just experienced, which I never experienced before. Although I know everything, I am Sarvagya, I don't know what that love was. I can't claim to know. I want to know what love you are experiencing. A glimpse of that I experienced. That means I understood now. The love that you experience in loving me, I don't know. I only know what I feel when I love you. But what you feel when you love me, I don't know. And that love is different than what I feel. Much higher and in magnanimity also, in the magnitude also. So I declare now only that I will come next time, next incarnation, taking your bhav and assume a form and come and experience your love. Radharani said, if you come taking my bhav, then you will become uncontrolled. I am already fearful, already upset and worried about your forthcoming incarnation, because with my bhav you will fall in the stones, pebbles and thorns, in water and on the land and hurt yourself. I can't even imagine. I promise you, when you will come in this form, I will cover you with my kanti, with my complexion, so that you will not be hurt by stones, pebbles and thorns. And that's how they again met. This is Imlitala. We are visiting many places also. We visited Bansivat, I couldn't explain to you. A beautiful forest where at the banks of Yamuna there is Bansi, what where Krishna sat and played his flute. So that's a place Bansivat. Then Imlitala, and then there is description of Raasleela. Again, there's no time. They joined their hands and they made a circle around Krishna. And they took Krishna in between. And they started dancing. And after that, Krishna sneaked in between the two gopis and took one form. And then went to all the gopis and took one forms. And they started dancing. And they danced for 432 crores of years. That is one day of Brahma. That is 432 crores of years. They danced. Krishna accommodated these many years in one night, 12 hours of that particular day of Ashwin Purnima. The gopis danced for one night, 12 hours, but they experienced dancing for 432 crores of years. And at the end of the night, when it became dawn, Krishna said, now you go back home. And they went back home, and their husbands and fathers and mothers and children, they didn't even remember that mother or wife or sister had left in the night and come back in the morning, as if everything was all right. They were, by the power of Yogamaya, they had not understood anything, although they stopped them from going in the previous evening, but they did not remember that they did that, and they welcomed them and the routine work started. Now the description of Raasleela is intense. There was original music of bangles, ankle bells and flute. This is how the Raasleela music began. Then the demigods gathered. They showered flowers continuously all throughout the night. They tried to match the melody of the music, what they were creating with their bangles and flute, but they could not match, but they kept on trying, and they had the melody, and the melody was going on different over here. And all the gopis and Krishna, they danced in such a fabulous way. One thing to note, the Devanganas, the demigoddesses, they were completely overwhelmed with lust when they saw this dance. But all of us should understand that Raasleela is not Kama Vardhini. Raasleela is Kama Mardini. If heard in the company of sincere devotees, with platform of pure life of Maryada as ordained by Lord Ramachandra and Acharyas, if we are hearing you with submissive awe and reverence, submissive mindset, and with not enjoying mood, with awe and reverence, that I am not the participant, I am just humble Shrota, then it will subdue our lusty desires. In the last verse of this chapter, the Falashruti is given. One who hears this Raasleela with such a mood, he will be completely free from all the lust. All the lust means all material desires, independent of Krishna. And the person who listens Srimad Bhagavatam, Raasleela, in this mood, he will develop Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service. And this is perfection of life. Everything is available here. The right mood is not there. If we receive the best of things with right mood, then the best of all benefit, that is love of Godhead, will erupt from the heart. But if we hear this Raasleela in the contaminated state of mind, then whatever is existing, Kama Vasana, will erupt like volcano. So demigoddesses were not in the Shuddha Bhakti platform. They were Aishwarya Bhav. They were in the opulent mode. That's why looking at what's going on down there, they were overwhelmed with lust. That is why we have to keep company of pure devotees, or at least sincere devotees, if not pure devotees, or at least devotees who have no ulterior motivations, who are not selfish or fruitive in their motivations. We have to associate with such devotees. They may not be pure devotees, but they are sincere, genuine, without ulterior motivation, humble and submissive, ready to serve. With such devotees, we should associate with and serve them and hear from them. Then gradually we will become qualified to relish the real nectar that we deserve from Leela like Raasleela. At one point of time, the gopis asked Krishna, why did you respond to us in a negative way, go, philosophy, this and that? Is it all right? Some men are like this, some men are like that. In a very, twisting way they asked. Taunting way. But Krishna explained that, many things he explained, but lastly he explained that I know that you love me and I often do these things with my dear ones whom I love because I want them to become eager to enjoy more love. I want to bestow them oceans of love. That's why first I show myself and then I reject and I disappear so that they become longing and this will solely depend on me, hanker for me, and their love for me increases, my love for them increases. Don't think when I abandon you, I disappear. I am cruelly sitting and enjoying. I also was suffering when I was away from you. But to increase the mellow of love, I disappear. Same thing he did with Dhruva also. Narad Muni also, right? Give darshan and disappeared. He said, now you will hanker for me, your love for me will increase. And then he became Narad Muni next lifetime. And then the last verse of the 4th chapter, Sri Krishna says, Na paraye ham. Your love, I cannot repay. So much love you have got. Durjara geha shrinkala, he says. The most difficult one to give up is the family bond. You have given up Durdhara Greha Shrinkala for me. You have abandoned everything for me. I am so much indebted to you that I cannot repay you with anything. Even in one lifetime of Brahma, I try to repay you, I cannot repay you. So please, O gopis, be satisfied in the love that you are offering me. Just being satisfied in that only. I am just like a beggar. That means Supreme Personality of Godhead who owns everything, who is all opulent, all powerful. He is expressing his helplessness in front of the ocean-like magnanimous love of the gopis. He feels himself puny in front of the ocean-like love of gopis, which is for him. And he feels himself incomplete or incompetent, unable to repay their love. So he submits himself to them. What does that mean? Rupa Goswami explains, Shuddha Bhakti Purna Seva, pure devotional loving service, conquers Krishna, wins over Krishna. Krishna becomes conquered. He becomes subdued. He becomes subordinate. That is why Shuddha Bhakti does not offer anybody very easily. Because when he When somebody achieves Shuddha Bhakti, he has to offer himself, not some part of his like wealth or beauty and fame. He has to offer himself to that person, and he does offer himself fully to that person. After this, they were at one place. They went to water because they were very tired. Krishna was mopping their bodies and wiping their Sveda Bindu, and it was pleasing to them, giving smile-long glances. And he held their hand and took them into water of Jamuna. Then they dipped in water of Jamuna. Their fatigue was relieved, and they again became enlivened. And Krishna splashed water on them. They came out and again wandered in the forest. At that time, Kamdev came to shoot his flower arrow on Krishna. And when he aimed at Krishna, I'm again cutting short, aimed at Krishna, first his flower arrow, flower bow slipped down his hand, and looking at the extraordinary beauty of the lotus feet of Krishna, Kamadev and Rati both melted. That place is called Madan Ter, just next to our hospice in Vrindavan, where Kamadev tried to seduce Krishna, but in turn he was seduced himself and he melted over there. And then after that, Lakshmi Devi came to enter Raasleela, and she was rejected by gopis. She was told that you have to become maid servant, you have to become a gopi, you have to milk the cow, you have to clean the cow dung, cow urine, cow shed, churn the yogurt, make butter, make the cow dung cakes, all these kind of activities you have to do. She said, no, I am Lakshmi, I am the goddess of fortune, I cannot do all these things. I cannot become like you. So if you cannot become like us, you cannot enter. Then she went to Belvan and performed tapasya. So it shows that, of course, it is not to minimize the position of Lakshmi. Lakshmi Devi is chosen by Krishna to teach a lesson to all of us. If any kind of mood of opulence or Aishwarya Bhav is there, and even though you are Lakshmi, you can't enter Raasleela. Raasleela is for those who are most submissive, most down to earth, most fallen, and most surrendered souls. No Aishwarya can enter, because Raasleela is the topmost Madhurya Bhav Leela. And not even trace Aishwarya can enter into topmost Madhurya Bhav Leela. So Lakshmi Devi was utilized as an example. She is still standing in Belvan, Srivan, performing tapasya to become eligible to enter Raasleela, and still she is not able to enter Raasleela. Finally, yesterday was Kojagiri Purnima. Kojagiri word has come from word Kojagrati. Ashwin Purnima is the birthday of Lord Lakshmi, Goddess Lakshmi. She came from Samudra Manthan on this day. And on this particular day, she is wandering on her airplane all over the earthly planet and watching Kojagrati, who is awake, performing bhakti, chanting the holy name, singing the holy name, having association. And those who are awake on this night, doing these spiritual activities, she bestows her good fortune on all of them, gives her blessing to all of them. Moon is the custodian of Amruta. On this particular day, because Krishna chose to dance and perform his best of best Leela, he chose to shower Amruta on all the living beings, including plants and human beings. So all those who are awake and in open air, taking moonlight on their body, they gain good health. If you see the moon, you get good health of the eyes also. Anyways, last but not the least, I am very sorry to continue so long. Raasleela is very, very durlabh to attain. I told you, even amongst the Brijvasis, only gopis were allowed. Even among the gopis, only few gopis were allowed. And that too, if you go in details of Raasleela, you will come to know, in different pastimes of Raasleela, different gopis were taken at different times. There are also Vasanti Raasleela, there is Raasleela in Kamevan, Raasleela in Vrindavan, Raasleela in Govardhan, Radha Kund, Sham Kund, in Vrindavan, many places. Every time, all the gopis did not dance. Only selected gopis dance. It was so private and so esoteric. But Radharani is very merciful. Till the time she is separate from Krishna, in one sense, physical sense, all this is happening. But at one point of time, when Krishna chose to take her bhav, she entered Krishna. She entered within Krishna. And as soon as she entered within Krishna, the strict Krishna became very compassionate and kind. He became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he decided, why to keep this highest pleasure of love private to only selected group of people. Is there any method I can devise by which I can give this pleasure to everybody, all people, equally qualified, unqualified? So he designed Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he encapsulated Golokera Prema into Harinam Sankirtan. He made a capsule, and in the capsule he put the essence of love of Golok Vrindavan. Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana. And he brought that particular encapsulated love of Golok Vrindavan with him when he came down on earth, accepting the bhava of Radharani as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what did he broadcast? He established and broadcasted Harinam Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And when he performed that Hare Krishna Mahamantra Sankirtan, he poured out the essence of Raasleela happiness, Raasleela bliss to everybody who is participating. That is why whole Chaitanya Charitamrita we read, devotees are simply in ecstasy, crying tears and getting into Ashtavikara, Satvik Bhav. When Mahaprabhu is chanting Hare Krishna, tears are coming out as pistons, syringes in the eyes, wetting everybody in the audience. And everybody getting mad, hair standing on end, tears flowing like rivers, hair standing on end and voice becoming choked up, body becoming like goosebumps. They're becoming stunned. All these kind of ecstatic loving experiences were because of that love which was exhibited privately in the previous yuga by Krishna for gopis, and which were gopis, they were enjoying this, they were relishing this. The same kind of happiness in the same quality and quantity is available to all of us in the form of Harinam Sankirtan. Those who are closer in the Harinam Sankirtan, they feel this more. Those who stand at periphery, they are getting it less. So the choice is yours. The same Raasleela is exhibited in Kali Yuga in the form of Harinam Sankirtan. And those devotees who offer their hearts into the process without shyness in chanting and dancing while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. They will experience the transcendental bliss of Raasleela exhibited by Krishna in Dwapar Yuga. Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry for the delay. I am extremely sorry. Hare Krishna. Those who want, please come. Mataji ko bulao.